what is the best keyboard for church?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that, because right now, folks, I'm going to tell you the number one keyboard you absolutely need to buy for your church right now.
And then I'm going to tell you what EQs to cut.
Yep. And the answer is any keyboard that sounds good. All right. Again, I feel like a lot of our tech talks, we get into these ruts, so I'm going to try not to just say all the same things. So let's just get it out of the way. Can your piano player play piano? That's probably the first place to start. But let's assume you've got a decent piano player.
So don't put me behind it.
Yeah. In another tech talk, I talked about how bass is one of my favorite ways to get like an inexperienced musician kind of grown into my worship band. My other favorite way is secondary keyboards.
Do you have an option where you can hold down one button and make it sound like something? Because that's what I would need.
I at least ask my keyboard players to learn how to play a triad.
Okay, well, I can do that. Yeah. So I can play on your worship team?
You can play on my worship team.
Okay, sweet.
Because it's such a neat way to get people involved that's not quite as intense and all that. And all you really need to, do it is find a simple keyboard that's got a decent pad sound or something kind of atmospheric that you like, and have them play some block chords. That's really cool. But let's say you're talking about your main keyboard rig, and it seems like in today's world, the question is always to Mainstage or not to Mainstage. I feel like that's like, and you guys go YouTube worship Mainstage rigs, and the rest of your life is done. You'll be watching videos till the end of creation. Oh. There's so much out there, but one of the issues we're seeing is, this happened a few months ago. We've got a keyboard specialist on staff. He's awesome.
Yeah.
And we were working with a church, and the church was convinced that they needed to go out and buy like a $6,000 keyboard.
Yeah, it was like a lot of money.
Big keyboard. We're talking about a flagship keyboard from any company. Wouldn't even matter what brand it is, because again, flagship, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Like, there's no question all the flagship models from every good keyboard company rock. But this church was like, we need to go drop this money. And our keyboard guy asked one simple question. He said, do you have a computer that you're not using on Sunday mornings? And they're like, oh, yeah, we got this laptop over here. We're not using it. And he goes, for what, $30, I think, you can buy Mainstage? Yeah. Well, we've looked at Mainstage, but it's so confusing. Well, it's only confusing if you let it be. It doesn't have to be confusing. I think he sat down with them for an hour.
Yeah.
And had everything they ever wanted in a keyboard rig built in.
Yeah.
They used a keyboard that they already had at the church, and
saved them a lot of money.
Tons of money.
Yeah.
So on the flip side, if I was working with a church that didn't have a lot of money, my background is in music retail. That's what I did for a long time. And so I've actually done this scenario thousands of times. Church comes in. They've watched all those YouTube videos, and they're telling me they have to go buy a $1,500 laptop and an $800 MIDI controller, and then they're going to buy a $200 template and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And every Sunday they're going to set up this computer and plug in all these cables and run all this stuff. And they've just determined that that's what they need to do, because that's what everybody else is doing. And I've sat down with them in our showroom and said, play this keyboard. I don't even want you to look at the price point right now. Just play this keyboard. And they start playing, and that plays nice. Mm-hmm. I really like the way that feels. And they get inspired, and they're having fun. And then all of a sudden I'm like, do you know what this entire keyboard costs? Like $1,500. That's a mid-range keyboard, right? But they're like, it sounds so good. I said, well, that's because this keyboard was created by a company that's been building acoustic pianos for eternity.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they sampled that piano, they knew exactly what they were doing. They've had 40 years of digital technology to get this right. That piano is going to sound awesome no matter where you take it. And guess what? The boot up sequence takes 5 seconds. There's no software updates to do. It doesn't need to be connected to Wi-Fi. You don't need a special audio. You just plug this into your sound system, and you're a good piano player. Awesome. And then you start pushing all the other buttons that have all the other sounds in it, and all of a sudden you go, oh, this has pretty much every sound I could ever need.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to do some research. First of all, go play some keyboards. Like, don't just assume because some guy on the internet told you that you need to buy this keyboard with this laptop and this Mainstage rig, and it's the only way. Now, it is a way.
Yeah.
And it's a good way. I've used Mainstage in a lot of unique ways, and like it, but I also own a standalone piano where if I just need to walk into a gig, plug into the sound system, and have zero programming, and it just sounds great and feels great to me, I have one of those too.
Which our keyboard guy played your rig.
Yeah, he walked
and now
into my
he's now he's buying his own.
And this is a guy who's had a Mainstage rig for a long time.
Yeah.
And he'll still use it. He even said to me, I want both. And I'm like, and that's what a lot of churches are doing too. But
yeah,
as usual, the answer is, find something that works for you, that you enjoy playing, that has good sound. And maybe that fits the complexity you're willing to deal with, I've met some young guys who want to spend 15 hours a week programming their Mainstage rig and getting it just right. And, all right, if that's what you love doing.
Yeah.
But be careful what MIDI controller you put it with, because I've played some really crappy ones. And as a piano player, it's like playing a guitar with rusted strings. It just, all the inspiration is gone. So I think the way it feels is really important too.